Welcome back to another episode of Rich, Hot, and Free. I'm Jill Stanton. I'm excited for this one today, guys, because we're going to switch things up and get a little tactical with this episode and talk about how to start infusing life and vibrancy and persuasion into your copy and your content again in the era of AI. And I know every single person listening to this right now has obviously noticed the flood of AI copy and content and sales pages and sequences, and it just all is starting to sound like the same kind of vibe, and it follows the same kind of flow and the same kind of writing conventions and structure, and even some of the same words are being used by different creators and coaches and experts and all of that kind of stuff, and it's boring as fuck, and you can see it from a mile away. But at the same time, it's also hard to not use AI for content and copy when there seems to be more demand and more expectations around content frequency and the appetite people have for how they consume content, and just like the pace that we all need to go at now in order to quote unquote keep up. So how the fuck do we get our words and our voice and our thoughts and our individuality out there again and cut through the sea of sameness and really make our words stand out again, and not just stand out, but be felt, like viscerally felt again. So to answer this, I'm actually bringing one of my former clients, Elyssa Jakim, onto the show. She was a private client of mine, and she's the wordsmith behind some of the biggest names in the expert space. She's been behind the scenes on some of the industry's biggest launches and writing copy and really shaping messaging for a lot of these thought leaders. And she's got such a contrarian take on this, which I love, obviously. So I wanted to have her come on and jam on really how to make copy human again, and how to make sure your words and your messaging are actually turning into cash. So your offers start flowing, the cash starts flowing, the clients start flowing, and everything just starts to grow and expand in the most beautiful way. So in this convo, we dive into all the different AI slop writing conventions that you need to avoid, how to spot them, and how to infuse aliveness back into your copy so people actually give a shit again and want to read it and want to buy whatever it is that you're selling or talking about. We're also going to talk about some of the trends we're seeing right now in the industry as of today when it really comes to content and copy and storytelling, and how to humanify your copy even more if you have been relying on AI heavily. This is such a high impact, high value episode. So I'm going to zip it. I know you're going to love it. Let's dive in. This is Rich, Hot, and Free. Elyssa, I'm so excited to have you here. My second ever person on the podcast, first of 2026. And I love this for us. What I'm the most excited for is, okay, so everyone needs a bit of context. So Elyssa and I worked together for at least 3 months. And one thing I love about Elyssa is she's got such a felt voice to how she writes. You've been behind the scenes of some major launches for some major thought leaders. And what I love about this is you have the intel. You have the intel on what's working, what's not, what seems to be clicking, resonating, landing with people, what they're feeling right now. And so the reason I wanted to bring you on is so that you can infuse all of that intel into all of us, because I know a lot of people are like, why is my stuff not landing anymore? Why does this feel so challenging right now? Why are people why are they ghosting the checkout page? Or why are they not, interacting with my social the way that they used to, or opening my emails the way that I used to, or anything? I feel like so many people are anchored into how it used to be, and kind of white knuckling that when things have just concretely changed. And what I love about your stuff, and I swear I'll let you talk in just a quick second, but what I love about your stuff is, especially when we were working together, is this strong position around make copy human again. Make it sound good again and not so fucking dry all the time. So one, welcome to Rich, Hot, and Free. And then two, share with us what you see happening right now, given all the launches that you're a part of and everything you've done in this space.
Yay, thank you, Jill. My pleasure. I'm so happy and delighted to be first guest of 2026.
Yeah.
To speak about the 2026 landscape. And yeah, it's so interesting because I remember when we started working together too, we talked about this, that sort of hedging energy, or that feeling of but people, and I remember you said this, Jill, like, but people really want to win right now. And I think
Yes.
if and as they can harness that fierce, ferocious, truly them energy, that's how you can win in this kind of cricket, strange, upside down landscape. And I think what I see and what I've noticed in the launches I've been a part of in the last like 6 months to a year is, yeah, the playbook is different right now.
Mm.
And the thing about marketing that's interesting that I think, I mean, maybe we're all aware of this, but I remember learning like from my first conversion copywriting programs, right? It's like the first rule of marketing is test, test, and test. And we are all being very like personally tested in our
Yeah.
resolve right now. But I think so, yeah, I think there's a lot of fatigue in the landscape around AI copy, and people can tell trust is kind of
Hmm.
low, and people's own energy. What I notice is people's own energy for their work can be low or stagnant at this time. But what I've seen work the best is when people are fiercely themselves, fiercely human
Yes.
in their copy. And one of the brands that I write for most frequently, it's so interesting because when the founder's voice, like when he comes in and when he shares his stuff and it's not marketing-y at all and it's just him, no AI, like that lands. So it's really interesting to see, and something I witness time and time again, like especially in brands that do successfully scale as personal brands to 8 figures, is that the founder or that voice is still deeply in the copy.
Mm.
So, like founders that I admire or people whose copy I really admire still right now, I can tell that they're still deeply engaged in the most important assets of their business, which would be like in the conversion copy speak, that would be places that are closest to the yes, emails, sales page, going and writing from the heart. And the last thing that I'll kind of say on this is that it's sort of what I see is funny, or there's a kind of irony here. So I position myself as a non-AI copywriter. I don't use generative AI. I don't use, like, I've never logged into ChatGPT or Claude.
Contrarian.
I
Rule breaker.
Exactly. And it's so funny because it started like I have a background, like very literary, scholarly, also energy healer.
Harvard.
Yeah, exactly. Harvard, UCLA screenwriting MFA. And I like got into copywriting right after studying screenwriting, like, and being like, I am a filmmaker. I don't even write. I was like so contrarian at the time. Like, I'm not studying TV. I'm going to study film and like hold a flag for like the new wave of cinema or something like that.
Mm.
And so, um, you know, coming into copywriting, I actually graduated in March of 2020 when the whole world shut
Oh God.
down.
What a good time though.
Yeah.
Because at least you still had a great college experience before it became whatever the fuck it is now.
Oh yeah, for sure. And actually that was my master's. So I went back to school. I got a master's in screen. I was like, I'm going all in on writing and the world and like film, and the world shut down. It was like, oh, okay, like
JK.
I don't know about entering the film industry, right? And I was
Yeah.
also like a little bit jaded by that. And um but I was like spiritual copywriting gig, and I kind of got really into it because I saw the connections between screenwriting and really good copywriting. And in the
Mm.
2020s, it was like the heyday of excellent copywriters like doing gymnastics for people on launches. And I think that maybe, so to go back to your original question, like that might be something we've forgotten, that like back in 2020, 2021, even the big 2022, before the AI like
Hmm.
rollout happened, people were investing in their copywriters,
Very
and
much so.
yeah, these writers were like virtuosos. They were
Yeah.
like, that's what made me excited. Like I was reading people, I was following launches, getting these emails in my inbox, and I was like, I need to learn how to write an email that
Hmm.
is that's like a masterpiece. I was like, what is happening? So ironically, I like fell in love with the form of copywriting, which is so nerdy to say. Like from screenwriting, I really wanted to master copywriting, whatever. But um, I think that when we think, oh, it was just easy then because, did everyone was going, digital course industry
Mm-hmm.
was big, like the coaching industry. Part of the reason that it was having such a boom, like people were pouring, both investing in really good copy, but pouring their heart into creating copy that wasn't the thing about really good copy, or what I'll say is like fiercely human copy, is that it's taking the body of work and the thought leadership and the voice of your unique message and just translating it and bringing it into a sales conversation and also studying the way the customer speaks and like mirroring the conversation the customer is really having in their head. So it's like the one-to-one sales conversation at
Mm.
scale. Um, so I think if we want to win right now or in this landscape, we need to bring back that fierce, kind of, to use your word, Jill, savage excitement around our own message and be okay with, and a lot of people don't like writing their own copy. That's probably why
Especially
so many,
now. I feel like
yeah.
especially now because they're probably like, oh, another thing I have to do. But like it's funny because I've obviously used AI for copy, of course, just like everyone else. But now I really dial back my use of it. I might use it for like outlining or getting the general gist or pulling out my stories. But then, like, perfect example, I did a whole sequence email and story for a new offer I have called Reality Bender. And I wrote it for my story and everything that's very active and present for me right now. And it is the best converting thing I've done in at least 6 to 12 months because it was all just very active, very present for me, very alive for me. And it was my current story. I feel like that's what's like clicking. I feel like as we talk about 2020 or even before 2020, like I've been in this game since 2013 and before that with affiliate marketing and whatnot, but it almost, big shift I noticed. Did I override your point? Were you still finishing your point or are we good? Okay, we're
No,
good.
you're all good.
Sometimes I just take over and I'm like, and my turn. Sorry. um,
No,
but
we're all good.
okay, cool. Sorry, babe. Um, so like 2013 to like pretty much 2019, the copy was like hype. It was still using like really great copywriters. I remember like Ash and Berger or Kira. Fuck, I can't remember her last name now. But like some of these big copywriters that you could tell had their own style, their own voice. Like they still weaved in the brand voice, but you could just tell, you know what I mean? Like we worked with a copywriter, Kate, she was amazing. And it's just like there was a flair to it. People valued it so much, you know what I mean? And it was still a bit more like hypey, pain pointy, that kind of thing. But then it was like the life got drained out of it when AI came in. And I think that's why people feel resistant to it. And I mean, even me, I often think like, I honestly don't even know what's real anymore. So like if I'm feeling that and I have high levels of discernment, I can't even imagine how people, maybe without as much time in this space must feel around this stuff. You know what I mean? And I think that's why we're seeing this resurgence of people talking about like, I will not use AI for copy. I'm sure you've seen that. I've started seeing that. Even big brands. I've noticed, like what are some of the big brands? I think Apple did one. I think a car company did one where it's like, this is not AI. Like they're leading with that now. And
I
it's only
love
been
that.
like 3 years of AI being in the space, but it's like this big counter movement now starting to emerge where it's like, this is not AI. This copy is not AI. This product is not AI. This commercial is not AI. You know what I mean? Like people are going back to like real human generated work again.
Yeah. And in a way, that's so refreshing and
Yeah.
heartening that, like,
Yeah.
it didn't even take that long for us to be like, no, I
Nah.
want, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Nah.
Yeah. And it's funny because I never adopted it because I was in a flow where I was writing like sometimes 5 or 6 hours a day. And actually, my
And you're a
process is
fantastic writer.
thank you.
Like
And
you.
that's also because I spent it in the time in the trenches, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's also like for me, writing is that kind of it's a sort of channeling experience. Like
Mm.
I'm a yogi, I'm an energy healer, and so I can just tap into stuff and I feel like I'm like communing with divine. It's never hard for me to get into a piece. So it's like that flair or finding a way into your own process, finding a way to be lit up again, like getting into your message, I think is that pinnacle piece that's going
Mm.
to help people win again with their copy.
So how can they
And
do that though? Like if they don't know how to like get back into it, because I noticed before I started writing my own copy again, and again I still use AI for like outlining or like narrative direction or whatnot. It's like hard to get yourself back into that mode again because it's almost like I lost the skill of it temporarily. Because I used to write everything for Screw the 9 to 5, for MGC, like all of that. I was the main writer unless it was like a big sales page or something like that, a big launch. So how do
yeah,
we like start to find that zing again or bring in that
I've
energy again?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I think part of it, like I was talking to my husband about this, I was like, it's nobody's fault that a lot of people adopted AI because the amount of volume asked of
Mm,
us by like the algorithm, it's almost like it was designed, right? Like you didn't need to use to produce as much to get as much attention. And so it's
yeah.
sort of like, of course, like AI, of course, is going to speed up people's processes, all of that. I mean, it's funny because in my first gut reaction was like, well, hire an amazing copywriter again. If that's one. But to actually get back into your process, I have a couple of suggestions. I think the first, and one of the things I love to talk about, is the creative muse, the idea
Mhm.
that we get inspiration from the muse, whether that's like whatever lights your inner artist on fire. And that could look like if you're not in a flow with it, I kind of call it a process of romancing the muse. So if you haven't talked to her in a while, for anyone listening, it's almost like Montauk Chia's like Taoist tantra. He says like women have to in stages of arousal, like you warm the stove. We're not like turn on is like a boiling pot of water that gets hotter and hotter and hotter, as opposed to like I light a match and I'm there, right? And so
Mm.
I think that getting in touch with our creative impulses or the muse is sort of like that, like making little offerings. And if you want to be kind of more ethereal, but I'll give a more ethereal answer and a more practical, direct
Okay.
answer. So,
Because if people are like, I have no muse and
but
I don't know what the
yeah,
fuck is going on right now.
okay, wait for the practical. I'll give a short, ethereal answer and we can explore more on this. I've got a
Okay.
Substack about process and stuff. So if you want to go deep with me about ethereal muse stuff, we can go there. But I would
Okay.
say it's things like that turn you on in your creative process, whether that's like it could be as simple as setting time for like, I'm a big believer in like, you can do so much in even 10 minutes in a day or 20 minutes in a day with writing and just setting a timer and not
Mm.
I'm not saying like a artist's way, like journal whatever comes through. I'm actually saying like clock your ideas during the week. Like maybe it's a notes thing in your phone, and anytime you have an idea, you just put it in there, and then you set your timer. Could be a couple times a week, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna freeform write about these ideas. And for some people, like a lot of people in personal development or coaching, we're talkers, right? So that
Hmm.
could be your voice memo. It could be creating really great video content that then becomes the written
Oh, I
element.
like that.
And actually, yeah, actually, when I write copy, a lot of times for another brand, I'm using their video content to get their voice and
Mm.
you can turn a video into an email easily.
Hmm.
You can translate your like the place where you're most expressed into your copy. And that's something like I always suggest personal brands or brands use, like repurpose across, and I probably most people who are listening do this across email and across social, but like your hardest hitting stories should go into your sales copy, like your
Hmm.
sales emails. And I think that something I'll say, so I'm getting into the more practical, is that a lot of online entrepreneurs are if we look at like the disc personality model, they're like high D. They're like quick decision make, which is dominance. They're like
Hmm.
quick decision makers. They don't want to read a lot of copy. They know if something's a yes or no for them. And so they'll look at copy sometimes and they'll say, this is too long. You know, like why does the sales page need to be this long? It's because not everyone is the same kind of decision maker. And so
Hmm.
more like humanist, if you're a coach and you're talking to soft-hearted humanistic people, they need like to be walked
A bit
through
more.
it and
They need a bit
massaged, right?
more like
Yeah,
wooing,
exactly. And so
romancing.
so on the very practical, and I don't know if this is how to get back into it, but it's how to make your copy betterer or zing
Mhm.
more or human again. Look at things like the highest, I talk about like the highest yield places of like on a piece of copy. So remembering that, of course, the subject line is like numero uno of your
Mhm.
email, right? Subject line preview text. Like and then like headlines and crossheads, if you do anything that needs to be really on voice, it needs to be your headline. And the crosshead are like the little headlines that go
Mhm.
across and down a page, right? And so that is where I think I feel like I get brought into rewrite copy a lot. And a lot of times I'm just like, stop with this. It's not that, it's this headlines. Like, please immediately remove them from everything you
I'm so
write.
glad you said that because I also want to like as you finish this point, let's definitely go into these like AI slop conventions because I feel like that is a dead giveaway. So we can definitely do some of those as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, finish your point. I
Oh,
just
no,
wanted
no,
to
totally. So
put a
I
little
think
pin
the
in that.
practical of getting back into it is to commit to like, I'm going, like, it's going to slow me down potentially a bit at first,
Hmm.
but commit to where you can be most fiercely you and expressed, and whether that's like what you've recorded or just like get into a weird, like I'm gonna just give an etheric answer still, but get into like a weird zone with yourself and be like, if I had to say something to my people that I'm kind of too afraid to tell them, or this is an edge
Mm.
for me, like push it and get like scrappy grassroots again, like you were in the beginning of your business when you were excited to share the messages, especially like what grew your platform in the beginning. Get the
Yes.
edge back, like bring your
Mm.
own voice back and be like, nobody can do me. Nobody can do my voice like me. I'm gonna like out weird the algorithms, you know?
Out savage people.
Yeah. And that's what will stand out.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because I actually feel like this time that we're in is kind of bringing us back to basics. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that's why
Hmm.
Substack's starting to really fly is people are writing again and doing long form again. I mean, long form's always been a thing, but you know what I mean? Like email
Totally.
newsletters are a hot thing again, you know? Like
Yeah.
blogging is a hot thing again. And I'm like, we are going back to like 2014 kind of shit. You know, like I remember 2015, 2016, like we were blogging like it was going out of style and then it did. And now it's back. And so like that and Substack and email newsletters, like it seems like we're kind of coming back to foundational principles because everyone just kind of went fucking bonkers with AI because it was so easy and so accessible. And in the beginning, not everyone was using it. So it wasn't easy to tell. You know what I mean? But now I also feel very strongly around, who was saying this to me? They were like, you just need to post like every day, multiple times a day. And I was like, I will not. No, I fucking will not do that because that's what most of you motherfuckers are doing. And I do not want to do what most of you motherfuckers are doing. I want to take the other path, which is like just to go back to like an old saying is like the road less traveled. You know, it's less cluttered. You stand out more. You're not as available. You're not seen as frequently. It creates, in my eyes at least, it creates mysteriousness. It creates mystique. It creates desire for more content from that person. Like there are people that I follow who will sometimes just like not post for days. And then the second they post again, you're like, oh my God, what are they saying? You know what I mean? Because they're not as available. Whereas a lot of people playing this like AI content game or AI slop game, they're just cranking shit out to see what hits, and that's fine. That's their game. That's cool. Whatever. I just personally am unavailable for that. Like, I don't want to play the game most people are playing because it seems as though, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems as though the game most people are playing isn't really working the way most people want it to work. But they think they just have to keep doing it because that's what, quote unquote, everyone says you should do. And then there's a few contrarians who are like, nah, nah, we're not doing it like
Yeah.
that.
Completely. Like if you have a brilliant like brand social strategist who can pump out who's like can deliver and do 5 reels and things a day for you, like amazing, right? Or if you're that person, like if you are just like personal, but it like you said, it's like following the energy, right? Like for some
Mm,
people, their zing is with like, okay, like I could do hooks and angles all day long, and that's their thing,
yeah,
right? But like the brands that I see like doing that most successfully have that person, and it's like
yeah,
they're almost like
for sure.
full-time deal. And I totally agree. I think it's like especially in the energy game, it's always going to be I mean, for me, it's always going to be quality over quantity. And I
Same.
see that in launches and people whose work is hitting and still hitting with people. It has, whether or not they're using AI, it has that aliveness, right? It has like,
Hmm.
this is turning, I'm using like turn on again, but it's like this is turning them on, and it's like, and you feel it, right? And my best performing content is always when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like bring it. I'm gonna bring it an extra level here.
Hmm.
And it's funny because I feel like it's the funny similarity between where we've always been with copy and where we are now is that there's always been a lot of generic, run-of-the-mill, kind of whatever marketing out there,
Hmm.
right? And now it's just mostly being
A lot of
produced
that.
in an AI slop way, right?
Yeah.
So we've always had this unique opportunity to be different and to be special. And I think more than anything right now, we're being called to summon that.
Yeah, I feel like
Because
it's a
otherwise,
competitive
why are you?
advantage.
Yeah,
Like if you
yeah,
can really harness that for yourself, if you can generate a sense of aliveness, I think that's why my last like little promo did so well is I'm just so fucking lit up by it right now. So people could feel that. And it was just easy to write because I felt the oomph with it. I felt the zing with it. And I know not everyone feels that way all the fucking time around marketing and sales and their offers and whatnot. But if you can do anything to like cultivate that zing, even if it's starting to think about like the impact it'll have for a specific person or what you love the most about it, or how you want to show up in your full potency around it. I feel like that will bring an energy that just AI can't even touch.
completely,
So,
completely.
okay, so let's talk about some of the things that really stand out as like some of this AI slop conventions so people can stay away from it.
Yeah, and this is me like editing every day. AI
No
coverage is so
doubt.
funny. I don't use it, but I edit it a lot. Okay, so take the word quietly and throw it
Please,
out.
God.
Like,
Please,
yeah,
God, yes. And
take the word.
paradigm, precision.
Yeah, Jill, you probably know like, even more
Oh,
of
I
these
hate it.
words than I do. So any words that you're like, I don't really say this word, it's sort of like it's kind of like to me, AI has this disembodied dude, like kind of like creepy dude voice. And so also if you're using it for things like if you were an embodiment coach, I'm just gonna say if you were using it, and I'm not wronging anybody here, I don't want to wrong anyone, but like I remember reading like a relationship coaches thing, and it was like a male relationship coach talking about women, and I was like, this is so AI generated, and it
Mm,
really creeped me out. But there's this feeling, right, to bringing it into embodiment where the AI voice is there's something very disembodied about it, and it's
yeah.
all a little bit too polished. And something that I think was really perceptive that I saw another writer posting about this was that AI does not have a sense of rhythm in writing. So this is a more subtle one, but I think it's important. AI doesn't have a sense of rhythm in writing, so sentences are kind of all like medium length, and then it does that thing that's like 3 words and a
Yeah.
it goes like
Yeah.
relaxed, carefree, like whatever,
Yeah.
and
Joyful.
sometimes uses uses alliteration. Like, do you talk? I think a filter here is like, do you talk
Mm.
like that? because if that's not how you talk, like it's felt. And I think that's where we get this like subtle, I'm gonna move past this. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
scroll on this person. And I think that a lot of audiences feel like a little bit betrayed by the feeling of like, it's almost like I can't pick it up. There's no texture here, right? Like,
Mm.
and so something to play with, like I write a lot of my captions and stuff as almost as throwaway in my notes app. And like if you can harness the way you would, this is why plain text emails still do really well because it feels like an email that comes from a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can harness like how you would text a friend or how you would email a friend and just throw that out there, I think it's doing really well right now. This
I think so, yeah.
almost like hyper casual, and people joke like keep the typos in, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so the tells, yeah, throw quietly away. Please stop that it's not this, it's that, or it
Yes.
isn't. And
Or
there's
it's
all
not
the
just blah, blah,
variations.
blah. It's this. Yeah.
Yeah, all the variations of it, because there are like it's it feels like hard sometimes when I edit that writing to find an alternative because it does feel good.
Yeah.
It's like persuasive,
I
but it's
deeply get
really
that.
not great. Something
Because
you can look,
sometimes you're
yeah,
like,
go ahead.
well, yeah, I do kind of want to say it that way, but like not that way. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when you say uh like it's not X, it's not Y, it's Z. But it's like sometimes you do want to phrase it that way. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, it's a good convention, but it's gotten like the way that it's delivered, and even in the good, even in like the better ones, like it's still there's something off about it. I can't quite pinpoint it. And then I think the other big tell here is like the too nicely bulleted things, the long lines that come even in formatting, you can tell when things are AI, like the long the M dashes, which is sad.
for
Please
sure.
still, I actually, some of my most successful non-AI posts have been like, M dashes are real for real writers. Like AI
I
can't have them.
That's the frustrating part is I used to use M dashes so much before AI and now I feel like I can't use them. And like I was texting someone and I use M dashes quite a bit just naturally. And they were like, did you just AI your response to me? And I was like, no, I swear. I
Yeah.
swear this is just how I text with like I use a lot of M dashes because I don't know why. I always used them in my writing before, but now it feels like punishment that I can't use them anymore because I'm like, damn it, these people are
No,
gonna
you
think
should
I'm
still
doing AI.
use them. I feel like we need to, like anyone listening, we need to take back the M dash here
Take
and
back the power of the M dash.
exactly. But also like we could start using like semicolons and stuff like that,
Mm,
other like weird obscure things. Sometimes like for some of the brands I write for, we use the double dash instead of the three lines to be like this is a different dash, right? Or you
mm,
could put spaces around it, but at the same time it's like use the M dash, but like just be fiercely yourself. I use parentheses a lot. I've always been
same,
like, yeah. So
same, yeah.
parentheses are cool. Like keep using those. But
Brackets are so cool
yeah,
right now.
yeah.
They're so,
And then I
so
think the
amazing.
other tell for AI writing is something about um like it's not specific enough. So
Mm,
and this is another place where your writing could be better right away. So it's like keep telling your stories and be visceral AF. Like viscerality is one of my and my friend Don Petron, who's an amazing copywriter and copy chief. We always like talk about make it visceral. And that
mhm.
means like start, we call it in media res, like start your story in the middle. Think of yourself, and this is like the full circle with the screenwriting thing. Think of yourself like you're writing a little scene in a movie and put someone there, right? Like viscerality to me, that word makes you think like, I'm gonna go for the jugular here. And that to me is some of the writing that's my style a bit, like
Mm.
most exciting. Like you want to sink your teeth into it. So anyone listening, like how can you harness that for yourself? It's really by starting to tell stories and use I and use you, but like get specific AF. Like what are your people doing? Like one of my favorite launch questions is like, what are their Seinfeld moments? Like the things that just bother them to no end. Like the best writing is always specific instead of generic,
Mm,
and AI will feed us generalities all the
right.
time.
I like that. I like starting in the middle too, where it's just like it's almost like a voyeuristic kind of vibe to it because you're being
Yeah.
let in.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
like
And
that.
give strong images, right? Like if you can start something with an image that makes someone go like, and this is amazing TV convention, when a show starts and it's sort of like at the end or somewhere different, and then it's
Mm,
like 22 hours earlier and you're like, okay,
yeah.
I'm hooked in, right? Like throw things at people that stop them. Like it's the stop the scroll effect, right? But stop people in your tracks with like, did she just say that? Or what's like happening here? Or like, I feel that, or I can see that. And the AI voice, like, even if it's trained to use your voice, there is just something that's always a bit, to me, I don't know, it feels masculine and it feels like it doesn't have rhythm. So, like,
Mm,
there's like bring your own rhythm into it, record yourself speaking if you have to, make a list of your favorite words and throw, even if you're going to tell your, like, if you're going to train your AI to use your favorite words, like just make it as on voice to you as possible. And that's always like a vague saying, but the only way we find our voice as a writer is writing and speaking.
yeah.
Like use your voice. Yeah.
And I love like if I am going to use AI to outline and whatnot, I always use the audio function to talk out like exactly what I want, what kind of like what I want to accomplish, the vibe I want, the stories I want to tell in this. And also, okay, wait, I want to tell like three different things. Audio, my story, and then AI conventions. So bring me back to all of those. First, I'm going to go back to the conventions because I just want to like tie a bow on that. I think we've said it's not about X, it's about Y. It's not just X, it's Y. That's not X, that's Y. Not because X, but because Y. Not by doing X, but by doing Y. No X, no Y, just Z or Z. X, Y, Z. And the X, Y. The result, the outcome. Like these are very strong tells in AI copy, I would say. So if you're listening to this and you're like, fuck, my copy definitely has that kind of stuff, that's easy for you to go back through and just like finesse and massage that. And I know we'll get into this because you also have tips around this, but so those are the conventions you kind of want to stay away from when if you are using AI copy or you are using AI to help you write, just stay away from those ones. And then secondly is I always use the voice function to talk out what I want or where I'm going with this or my intention or the zing behind it or the story I want to infuse in it. So then at least as it's outlining, it has that like oomph from me. And then the third piece is this is a big shift for me because I used to really, how one of the strongest like strategies or suggestions in the world of conversions and marketing and copywriting was always make it about them. Like make it about your customer, right? So use you and your and blah blah blah. And recently I've been trying to play with like what if I just make it about me? And I'm so not used to that because I've been such a slave to make it about them. But I also feel like when you get too much into that rhythm, you kind of also dip, or at least for my stuff, I noticed it was kind of starting to feel a little shamey. You know what I mean? Like you do this because this, or like you're in this loop because whatever. And then I was like, what if I just turn it on myself and make it my story and like what's present for me and what I'm experiencing? Like I feel like for so long I made it all about them and now I'm coming into an era where I want to make it about me and my work and what I'm experiencing and why I feel called to like share this with whoever. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
I love that so much. And like my favorite launches, the best launches I've ever worked on, like I always interview people like, what are your core stories? I try to get as much
Mm,
personal story out of anyone, especially if you're a personal brand, out of anyone I write for, because I think I totally love that. And I think that people, if they're following you, they're into your work, they're into your world, they want to know your stories. They want to know what you're struggling with. And it's so funny. one of my like this hilarious, amazing copywriter, Daniel Throssell. He's like this Australian copywriter who sends a daily email, and he is disruptive too. And a lot of he taught something like this like almost 5 years ago now. Like he doesn't write sales pages that are all like in the U format and structure. He actually like does that. Like he'll write he'll tell stories. He makes it more human
Him.
and relatable. And I think that bringing yourself into your brand, like, and into your sale, this is where I want to say, into your sales emails and into your launch emails, like put as much story as you possibly can. And then, it's that kind of like, and then turn it to them. Like, if this is real for you too, like making it a teachable moment. And I think that for the other
I
thing
like
that I'll say
that.
is,
If this is real for
yeah,
you too.
yeah,
I like
exactly. It's
that.
kind of like the structure there is sort of almost like this classical PAS or ADA like copywriting structure where you're like telling a story and then the S is solution, right? Problem,
Hmm.
agitation, solution. So like the solution is like your product or the thing you're offering, but it's also that kind of teaching moment where you're like, if this is real for you too, or like, here's what I took from it. This is what can be a nugget for you. And even like infusing, just like hit reply, tell me like what's alive for you with this. Like not assuming that we know their story, but sharing
Yeah.
intimacy, right? Vulnerability.
Mm.
And I think that when you're a more audacious brand like you, my friend, right? You have a more audacious brand or like kind of that like anti-establishment sort of voice, which I think, or what is it? There's a brand voice. Yeah, it's actually called anti-establishment, which is a
I'm
voice
in.
archetype. Yeah, yeah. Like if I were gonna do your
Say
voice
less.
archetype, it would be like, yeah. But a lot of people in transformational spaces are anti-establishment
Of
voice
course.
types because we're questioning the
Yeah.
status quo, right? And so I think it's really brilliant that you highlighted like that can feel shamey if it's all you, because you're pointing out the sort of like things that don't make sense in our societal programming, and we all
Yeah.
have that, right? So if you can share it from your lived experience where we're not so called out, we're like more called in, right?
Oh, I love that. Not called out, called in. That's
Yeah.
such a good like filter to put on it. It's like, am I calling people out here or am I calling them in? Oh, I love that actually. I'm gonna
I
like
like
really
that.
use that for my next one because I think that's such a biggie. Okay, so if someone has been using AI heavily in their copy, and again, no shame, I feel like we all went through it except Elyssa. Um, all of us have done it except Elyssa.
I'm the last unicorn. That's what I say.
Literally, that was like, wait, do you know The Last Unicorn, the movie?
Oh
Do
yeah,
you
for
for real?
sure.
Fuck off. I swear to
Yeah,
God, that was like my whole 80s. Like, I
I
fucking
love it.
love The Last Unicorn, and I have never met anyone else who knows The Last Unicorn.
Oh
Fuck, I
yeah,
love that
I'm very
movie.
into unicorns, so we can side note that. But yeah, I love that movie and the idea of like who are the last unicorns in in this day and age. And I think
Mm,
like very mini side note, that's part of what's been so resonant and fun with the non-AI message, or like people getting more interested in analog, or like we don't want this,
mm,
and like coming back to like romanticizing
yeah.
life more and like art and beauty and like let's write by hand, like yes to all of that. And I think anyone listening to like having a stance on
Yes.
AI is a good thing right now because everybody's like talking about it nonstop. It's the Wild West right now. So I
Hmm.
think like also coming into coherence and integrity with how you use it, not needing to like flounce and be like, this is how I use it, or blah, blah, blah. But like having a stance is a cool thing to play with, and know that you have people like if you want to be rogue and renegade, or if you want to break up with AI, like you got, come be a last unicorn again. It doesn't mean
The rally
it
call.
doesn't mean that it's too late. Yeah.
And I also love, I think what this space could really fucking use again is some authenticity and vulnerability. I think it's starting to happen again because people can see how disconnected people are. And so they have to kind of open back up again. But I don't know. I just think that the more we get into the world of AI and like, have you heard of the dead internet theory?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is fucking crazy. Right now, as of right now, today, 51% of the internet is bots. Right now. So like I was actually on a date with a dude who owns like a personal security slash risk assessment firm. And he was telling me a story around a dude he knows who has a peptides company. And they had a like bot operation that created like over 9,000 different Reddit profiles and threads and all this crazy shit to skew the narrative around peptides. But it sounds so real that people are like buying into it, but it's not real. And it's fucking with the narrative and the perception, and it's controlling people's like opinions and perspectives and shit. And so by, I think it's like by 2030 or whatnot, it's supposed to be 60% of the internet is all bots. So that's why also when people are like worried about criticism, or getting called out online or whatever it might be, I'm like, don't even worry about it. It's probably a bot anyways. Like, it's not a real human. Like, you can just relax. It's probably just a bot that's there to like skew the narrative or control perceptions, or, you know, you see it in people's comments. If there's a really viral post, you'll see some like random shit just, you know, posted there where it's like, okay, that makes no sense. That must be a bot. Um, and so where was I going with that? Dead internet theory. Yes. So I feel like people are deeply craving connection and authenticity and honesty and vulnerability and like being able to truly see someone again. I feel like
Yeah.
that's such a fucking competitive edge, which sounds crazy to say like your vulnerability and authenticity is your competitive edge, but truly it's like most people aren't brave enough to be deeply vulnerable or truly authentically themselves, stand behind their convictions, their beliefs. You know what I mean? And so I feel like that feels like so refreshing to people now for the ones who are
Yeah.
bold enough to do it.
100%. And it's kind of like a process of shadow hunting too, right? Like those
Mhm.
things you're holding back, the things that you're like, that are that edge for you are like, there's so much expansion on the other side of letting yourself kind of like be as it
Yeah.
were. Like it's funny for me because my version of like authenticity on the internet, I realized was being like my more spicy, fiery, intense self, which is a little bit of a performance. And like, but I think things, points of view that are like distinct, that are polarizing, that are
Mhm.
like that, this is like great art, you know, something I would also have anyone who's listening look at is like, what are the hills you're willing to die on, right? Like, what are these points? Wes Cow calls it your spiky point of view, but like, what are those spiky points of view that you're just like, this is truth for me.
This is it.
And like,
Yeah.
yeah, like put that out there and push, like, I think it is the time to be pushing ourselves to like say the things that we've
Mm.
held back, but like, but not just for the like, yeah, I think I would just say not for the sake of doing it, but for the sake of expression, for the sake of
Mm.
experimentation, for the sake of
And connection.
play and connection,
Yeah.
100%.
Calling in the ones who were like, yes, that. And repelling the shit out of people who are like, I can't believe you said that. Well, believe it.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's also funny because I feel like some of the best like marketing or business growth strategies are once again these grassroots things of like show up and go somewhere in person and have a conversation
Yeah.
with people, you know, like doing the things that are like the most human in our
Analog.
business. Like
Make
that's
life
where things,
analog again. I honestly think, like, to side note and quick tangent on this, but um, I was talking to a buddy of mine here, and because I live in Phuket, Thailand, like, it's not like they are advancing at the speed of light with AI. You know what I mean? And I was saying to him, his name's Brett. He's like my best buddy. We're both Enneagram mates, and we're just obnoxious together. But he used to live in California, and so he had a personal finance firm, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so we were saying, like, as the world continues to speed up with AI and robots and all of these things, it's like coming to Thailand is like going to be going back in time. Like you're going to be like, let's go back to 2019, where you come into Phuket and it's just like, yes, people use AI, but there's like, when I go to Dubai, there's like actual robots there that do shit for you. You know what I mean? Or in the States, there's driverless cars, or You know what I mean? Whereas like in Thailand, it's electric, it's real, it's untouched, it's raw, it's natural, it's like how life used to be. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's why it feels like such a fucking exhale here, because it's how life used to be.
100%. Totally. I love that. I love that. I say that from my 1830s house in like
Yeah,
rural
totally.
Georgia in the middle of nowhere that has a lot of conventions that haven't probably changed in
But
the
it feels
last
so
century.
so lovely. It feels so
Yeah.
like
It's so
regulating.
quiet. Yeah,
Mm. Okay, so did we ever
exactly.
talk about like if you've been overusing AI, how to like kind of dial that back in, find your voice? Did we finish that or did I tangent and ruin it?
No, no, you didn't tangent and ruin it at all. I think that like there's a lot of ways from this conversation that people could find their way back in, whether that's like coming into your artistic practice, like the romancing the muse thing for me is literally is things like from watching your favorite, like get receiving your favorite art and content
Mm.
again. And I would like go out of your space. Like I would
I was
not.
just gonna say that.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
going out
like
of the
get
coaching space.
inspired. Exactly. Like don't be like binging digital courses or even like
Yes.
personal development stuff. Like like read a novel that you loved like a while ago, or watch your favorite films, or listen to music that's like just from a different, almost like a different era, right? Like a different time. And this is why I love the idea of like romancing your muse, because it's almost telling your inner artist or your creativity, like, okay, I'm here for you. Like, I'm here
Mm.
for you, woman. Like, I'm gonna get my candles. I'm gonna dress up for you. I'm going to get my notebooks. Like, it's so funny. I'm looking at like my mom sent me all of these notebooks from like 2004 or
Oh,
something, that
get out.
I was like 16, like writing like these sonnets to my crush. And then like there's one right there, it has Wonder Woman on it. Like like make a commitment to your artist self and
Mm.
like let her loose. And I think the reason I say this and the reason why it's not a waste of time is that we use the same part of our brain reading and writing, for example. So
Mm.
like when you're reading good text, read a Russian novel or something like that. Like read something just like that's brilliant and beautiful and utterly breathtaking. And I dare you to not feel more expressed and alive in your own
I love
work.
that.
And then the next step is gather. Like, if you carry a little pocket notebook around in your like put a notebook in your pocketbook, right?
Mm.
Or like it could be the notes app in your phone, but I feel like this is how you tell your muse, like, I'm okay, I'm here for you.
Mm.
And what happens to me is after I do that for a while, I mean, it's kind of funny, but I'll get woken up at like 4 in the morning and I'm like, oh, I have to write this down. I had an idea. But the more you tend that flame, the more your channel just opens to it. And the more flow you have, the more fun you're going to have. And I think it's just going to speak to everything we've talked about in this episode, like being more alive in your work, more grassroots, like more
Hmm.
embodied, more felt, and do whatever you can to be felt by your
Yes.
people in your copy. So that's
Yes.
maybe the best how to come out of it. And it might be like, okay, I'm gonna go on, it's whatever's your process, right? Like I'm gonna go on a cleanse and I'm not gonna use it for a couple of weeks, or I'm gonna like romance my muse and bring that into the AI tools, or
Mm.
I'm gonna just like experiment with lengths and like write short AF captions that only
Oh
if
my
it's
God, I
a
love short captions.
yeah, if it's like a length thing, come to short captions or like DM me and I've got copy templates written by a human for everything. And it's like I created those because I wanted to learn the structures of copywriting like before. I never used AI, but like I actually created a whole bunch of internal templates for myself. And like I love filling in the blanks of things with really good like proven frameworks and structures. And
Mm.
I think that's what can feel daunting to people about creating their own copy is they're like, I don't have a map here. AI
Yeah.
seems to have a map. And sometimes those maps are not great. Like go get a really good conversion copy. Use swipes. Use a swipe file
Yes.
instead. Like, but go back to like, can I find this woman's course that I bought like so excitedly in 2021 or something? And like get those pages and use them as your swipes.
Mm.
Or go back in your emails to launches that lit you up. This is such a nerdy thing to say, but like 5 years
No, I
ago
think
or
that's smart as
something.
hell.
And use swipes and like
Yeah.
learn from like it wasn't that long ago that we were all doing that. So just give yourself, there's ways to not have a blank page and not use AI.
Yeah.
So
I love
that's,
that.
I
Feels
think
so
that's
retro.
the other thing to
So
say. Yeah,
vintage.
I still
Okay.
do it. I
So
never
I want
stop.
to touch on this because Elyssa has like this whole copy audit that she, excuse me, that she offers. I feel like if you guys are listening to this and you're like, fuck, I am deep into the world of AI writing and I don't really know how to dial it back or bring myself back into it, or is it really that bad? Like, does it sound like me? Could I make this better? Tell us about your copy audit. And then also, I want you to tell us about the glow up because that's the thing that I think is like such a fucking win for people. So start with the audit and then go to glow up.
Okay. Yay, thank you. Yeah, and the other great answer to this question is have like what one of my clients said, have a true blue conversion copywriter in your corner, right? Like get eyes on your work, get eyes on your stuff, human eyes. And I'm like, human
Humanize.
eyes to, my joke is human eyes to humanize. Like let's humanize our
Hmm.
copy.
See? See,
See, it
guys?
just pours out of me. So I've got an audit that's like it's the copy crush audit to make your copy
Mhm.
crush again in the age of AI. It's $33 and you'll get my review. I'm going to do a review of one piece of copy that's like not landing, not converting, or maybe you're just like, I don't know how this is. Like
Mhm.
I need some human eyes on this. So then I do a review. I tell you the best places to move it forward, or I tell you to ship it. It's great, but I will help you walk away with a few really actionable insights, at least three, like to level it up. And then the glow up is, yeah, that's in more in depth, like I will rewrite your copy for you. So that's
Hell
for like
yes.
that's for one major or key asset in your ecosystem, whether that's a sales page, a piece of web copy, like a launch that you want to evergreen or that you're not sure about, or just like something, if you've been in the funky space with your copy and your launches and you want to know like why maybe didn't this work or how could
Mhm.
I push it further? Um, that's what the glow up is for. And so we do a strategy call. I onboard into your voice and I dig in and I up level chief and edit your copy at way less than like hiring me to write it
Totally.
from scratch. So that is super exciting. I day in and day out working on launches. It's so funny because as I mentioned in the last like 6 months, especially last year, I've been hired a whole bunch to optimize and
Mhm.
up level
Humanize.
amazing, yeah,
Yeah.
humanize amazing brands AI copy that's almost there, but it's not quite there. And
No.
so the way to like make things sound less AI is like right over it again. If you've
Yes.
used the AI, like right on top of it, use it as your junior copywriter and riff, or
Oh, I like that.
I call it hire a human to help your copy
Yeah.
crush. So that's what the glow up is for.
Okay, so clarifying questions for the audit. So what kind of things can they submit to you for the audit?
Similar, they won't get my rewrites on it.
Yeah,
So if you're listening,
but
you
they'll
won't
get
get
your
my rewrites,
suggestions.
but it'll be like generally one piece of copy that's
Okay.
important to you.
Like a sales
But it
page.
could be a series, yeah. So it could be a sales page, it could be a landing page, it could be, the top of the funnel. I can review, like actually I just did one today and it was her website. Like I gave her high level notes on her entire site that she
Oh,
just
that's
updated.
amazing.
So it depends
You
on
want to
your
use it.
need. And I'm not like, if you have a few short pieces or something, I'm not going to be like, no, I can only look at your landing page, but I won't look at your confirmation email. I can
Okay.
review a good stretch and give you some high level suggestions to amp
Okay,
it up.
sweet. So that's jillstanton.com/copy audit. That'll take you to Elyssa's page. And then tell us what they can submit for Glow Up. So obviously a sales page or a landing page. Could they also submit stuff like a launch email sequence, or is it just like one asset?
Yes, they can absolutely do a launch email sequence. That's actually like
Okay,
one
sweet.
of the assets. So there's, when you check out the Glow Up page, I give examples of the different kind of buckets it can fill into. That can look like a land. So they all have like glowy names. So it's called Goddess Landing, and that's like a mini funnel with a landing page and up to 5 emails or
Oh, sick.
ads. So it can be like a top of funnel flow. It can be one page. That's the opalescent one pager. So that could be a web page or a long form sale page. Or if you have a few short pages, I can do 3. And this is like
Sick.
a real true blue conversion copy rewrite, with the caveat that it must have been efforted instead of like a one draft from AI or
Yeah,
something
like
like
don't just
that.
give us some lame ass GPT copy with fucking precision and quietly in it.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. You
something
got to
you've
take
actually run.
exactly
Okay,
100%.
sweet.
And you know, the thing that's awesome about the glow up, and I've done them, like there's founders or people that are like in their own stuff all the time, just having that extra set of eyes where you're not like asking AI when it's done, but you're like
Yes.
really with, you know, with someone who's in this all day, every day, to just to add some nuance. And especially something I often do in the glow ups is move the order. It's like that flow of ideas and the order of
Mm.
sections and pumping up the headlines and crossheads. And it's really like amping up or glowing up the whole page. I can,
It's so freaking helpful. Like it's so
yeah.
useful to have that kind of feedback, especially if you have a launch that's performed really, really well in the past and maybe you ran it again in the last like 6 to 12 months and it just did not meet your expectations. Like having that feedback or that rewrite and that like amplification or like sexing up, I feel like that's what you do. You like sex up pages in the best way. So it brings back the oomph again. You know, it brings back the like, oh my God, this sounds so fucking good. I want this. You know, like shut up and take my money kind of vibes. I feel like
Exactly.
that's the vibe you bring. So if you want to check out Alyssa's Glow Up, jillstanton.com/glow up is the link. All of this will be in the show notes, of course. So if you want to just like directly access those, just scroll down, get them from the show notes. But Glow Up is jillstanton.com/glow up. Copy Audit is jillstanton.com/copy audit. And then what's your IG for people who want to connect with you?
It's just at my first and last name, Elyssa Jakim, at
Okay, so
Elyssa
spell it out.
Jakim.
I'll
Yes.
put it in the show notes as well, but it's ELYSSAJAKIM, right?
Yep, that's it.
Perfect. I have loved this. Did we miss anything? Do you have anything else that you want to leave us with? I feel like there were so many freaking tangible tips. It was crazy. I love
Yay.
this for
Yeah,
us. I love
no.
this for
I,
everyone listening.
I love this too. The combo of ethereal and extremely practical wrapped in a bow is like my
Yeah.
favorite thing. So yeah, just want to say thank you so much. And Jill, you are incredible, OG, real person being authentic AF that I admire so much
I
in
love
this
you.
space. So
I
thank
love
you
you
for
so
having
much.
me on. I love you so much too.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming
A
on with me and
pleasure.
having this conversation. Guys, if you are feeling this, I would love to hear what stood out for you. If there was like one tip that Elyssa dropped or something that you've noticed in your own copy that you're like, fuck, how do I get around this? Please shoot me a DM. I love hearing your feedback and what landed for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the show, please go to jillstanton.com/podcast. You can subscribe on your favorite channel there. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.